So we are live again by the Thames riverside. Today is Thames Barrier. This was the last line in a scheme all along the east coast. Measures of flood defence, and as you went into the 1950s, you got a lot of there were a lot of flooding incidents, a lot of floods going on, and that's a nice bit of sea traffic there. We do love a bit of sea traffic. We're encouraging the boats today. We want to see boats. But yeah, in the 1950s, in the mid-1950s, there were a couple of hundred floods. A few people got killed all up on the east coast, and the river, if it sort of went over 16 feet above sea level, it would burst its banks and it would cause mayhem. But the problem you had was, because this was a Docklands area, there were tons of ships and stuff coming in and out. They couldn't really build one because it would slow down sea traffic coming down the Thames. So it wasn't until the docks started to decline that they put plans in motion. In about 1968, they sat around a table, and by 1974, the construction of this place was started. It was completed in 1982 and officially opened by the Queen 1984. They predicted cost of it was around £120 million, but it topped up. There are reasons why. The tide's in, but it topped up costing them £535 million, and that was back in the 80s. That was quite a lot of money back then. You got 9 pillars there. They started off on that side, worked their way over. There's about 9 to 10,000 tons in each one of concrete, and each of these pillars took about 9 months to build. Because what you've actually got, and you can't actually see it, you know, some people call it mud, some people call it silt. It's funny because out of the nine of these gates, they only use 3 or 4. And in its history, it's been raised just over 200 times. So it doesn't get used a lot. It's pretty efficient as well. It doesn't burn a lot of energy either. So obviously, because it's never hardly used, the tide has to sort of be about 16 feet above sea level. So what you're looking at, I suppose, if it hits that ridge there, that's where their kind of warning is for them to then deploy it. They are going to test it in June, and I think sometime later on next month. So it'd be good to see them testing it. So I might come down here for that. Yeah, basically what this consists of underneath the water, you're looking around here is about 66 feet deep at its deepest point. And basically what you've got is you've got like a silt type substance, which is about 10 or so feet of it, which is aluminium. That's the name. I'm not a good pronouncer of that word. And then you go down, and that's sort of 58 million year old silt. So when you see this tide come out, it's literally millions and millions of year old silt. And then it goes down to Thanet sand, and then it hits the bottom, which is chalk. And they obviously had to go right the way down to get into the chalk to build the bases for these pillars. It used to be the biggest one. It's now the second largest dam of its kind. And basically the engineering principle is pretty simple, really. They based it on a tap. That's what it's based on. You can check it out. If you Google it, it's basically they're giant taps, just giant household taps. Nothing more, nothing less. But as I say, it's been raised about 200 or so times. And there was some flooding in the early 2000s and they had to sort of pop it up a few times. But it's rarely used. Its predicted lifespan was 2070, but it's looking like it'll probably last to about 2030. It's a bit dubious as to whether this barrier is going to protect us later on as we go in towards 2030. So they may have to build another one. And this one cost £530 million back in the 80s. So Lord knows what a new one would cost. Shouts out to everyone watching. We're just chilling out by the river as we do once a week. River watch. Yeah, basically what you've got is you've got a counterweight. It spins and it lifts from the seabed. And they only sort of raise it, as I say, when it goes about 16 feet above the sea level. So I think it's the rough marker for it is, as you can see, where that tide hits the green. I think that's it. When it gets to that level, bosh, she's out. It very rarely happens. They've tested it more times than they've ever needed it. And it takes about an hour and a half, about 90 minutes on average to sort of close it up, so to speak, or open it, whatever way you want to look at it. Here we are, Riverside, yet again, Thames barrier. Riverwatch, we're a little bit further down. We were right down there last week, but we're by the Thames barrier this week. Just to have a little look what's going on. Unfortunately, it's not going to open today, but they will be testing it next month, sometime next month. So if I can get down here for it, I think it's I think June they're testing it, and I think next month they're testing it. So I'm going to try and get down there for that. But it normally takes about 90 minutes to raise itself. So today, you know, we're picking little different parts of the Thames every week, and we're just going to have a little stroll around for an hour. Look at a bit of river life. Yeah, as I say, you've got about 9 pillars. They use only 3 or 4 of them. There's 9 pillars. They took about 9 months each to build, about 10,000 tonnes each. Place employs about 80 staff, approximately. And it's actually been used about just over 200 times in its history. And as I say, the problem is what they had originally, because they wanted to build one of these years and years and years before. In the 50s, there was loads of flooding all down the East Coast. And this was part of a sort of a massive investment all the way down, probably over 400 miles all the way up to the North Sea. There was a lot of investment into flood control. And this was the final sort of piece in the puzzle, the Thames barrier. Because obviously by the 1950s, the River Thames was bursting its bank quite a few times. It was beginning to get a bit of a pain in the arse. And obviously they had a problem building it because of the river traffic for the docks. There was a bit of an issue. They had plenty of plans from the 1950s onwards, but they didn't get their arse in gear till the docks declined, which was in the late 60s. And obviously then they decided to get their arse together. And by 1974, this thing was under construction. It took about 10 years to build. They finished it in 1983, and it was officially opened by Queen Elizabeth in 1984. I think that they budgeted at about 120 million, and it turned out to be about 535 million pounds to construct it. And as I say, they did run into some issue because you got alum on the top, and alum is basically about 10 feet of silt, and that's about 56 million years old, believe it or not. That is actually, how you doing, Lynn? I'm good. And obviously, so if you look at the seed bed here, underneath the water, you've got alum, thanate sand, and then you hit chalk. So obviously they had to dig really deep. And they had to use air pumps and all sorts. And the funny thing was they just dug it all out and dumped it further down the estuary. Yeah, I'm really good. We're just chilling out by the river. Thames barrier today. Every Tuesday, river watch, little bit of nature, little bit of Thames action, little bit of a break from the norm. Yeah, and the sad part about it is, you know, in general, someone asked me last week, and the River Thames, it sort of claims about 30 lives a year on average. So you have to respect this Thames. You've got to respect the River Thames, trust me. Don't play about with the River Thames. Yeah, there's been a bit of a hoo-ha. There is a bit of noise as to whether this thing is going to protect us after 2030. They predicted it to sort of last till 2070, but it's not looking like it. Apparently they're saying climate change, rising tides in this area. It might not be any good after 2030. They might have to sort of jazz it up a bit or maybe build another one. We will see. But the tide is coming out a little bit now. How you doing, Maxine? How you doing, Lynn? Nice to have you watching. Yeah, we're going to pick a little spot every week. I think next week, maybe towards Wapping next week, maybe. But today we're sort of alongside this end. Last week, as I was at the scene of a bit of a disaster. And so we're sort of picking a point where it's got a little bit of history, something to talk about. Yeah, so at its deepest point, between Pier 4 and Pier 6, it's about 66 feet deep. So it is pretty deep. The Victoria dock over there is about half as deep, but you're looking at about 60 feet deep. This is the fastest part. Your average river speed's about 2 miles an hour. But last week, it was pushing 5. It can get up to 5 miles an hour, which I'll tell you what. Thanks, Matty. Went back to school today. Bully's moved out of his good. Well done, Lynn. Persistence pays off, eh, mate? Good luck to you, yeah? Nice to see that. What's that then? Oh yes, he's got all the boring facts. Yeah, each one of these pillars weighs about 10,000 tonnes. There's about 10,000 tonnes of concrete there. Yeah, I think most of their work was in excavation. I think it was a lot of their work was in excavation, and they used explosives. I think in the end they blew the crap out of it in the end. And they had to build sort of a coffer dam around each one, get rid of all the water around it, and then sort of go down as far as they basically could. And each one took about 9 months to build. And as far from memory, I think they started on the other side and finished at this side. And in fact, they used a very historic crane. It was called Samson. And it was a crane in the docks, and it was at KG5 over there. It was a static crane. It was absolutely huge. You could see it for miles. And it actually got mounted onto a boat And then it was used in the construction of this, and it was one of the final things it actually did after all the work it did in the docks. Its final piece of work before it was towed out to Greece and painted yellow. It was its final piece of work. Samson's final piece of work was to close the gates on all of the history, because this actually signified that docks trade was dead, because they couldn't build this in the height of the British Empire, and especially around the 1920s, would have been impossible to build it because of the amount of shipping and trade coming in and out. And believe it or not, around this area, there's quite a bit of wildlife. There's about 3,500 different species of wildlife and diving birds and protected wildlife in this area as well. I think there's about 5 different species of sharks that actually come up and down here as well. So be careful if you fancy going for a swim. And yeah, there is. Yeah. There's 125 different species of fish in here as well. Believe it or not. Yes, there is. You've also got a colony of harbour seals and grey seals. You've got about 3,500 recorded seal population in this part of the Thames as well. We're going to get a bit of action, bit of tug action coming up for you. A bit of we've got a few boats coming past. As I say, it's going to be opened, it's going to be tested out within the next month or so. So hopefully when I get a definitive date and time, I will be here. I've actually got access to the other side of it as well, and I'm going to be right round the other side for the hopefully to see it closing or opening, depending how you look at it. So that'll be a good sight to see, because it's only ever been used probably about 250 times since its whole history. And as I say, a lot of that is testing. I will tell you a little story about one of the bad things that happened, but let's let these boats go through. Riverwatch with Matty G. I'll tell you what, telly, they used to have this stuff on TV, didn't they? Before all the rubbish, before all the Big Brothers and the celebrity TV and all the rubbish game shows. We used to have television like this, where a celebrity would spend time with wildlife, doing mundane things, trying his best to make the Thames Barrier look interesting. And off they go, the nouveau riche, to their little boxes up in the city up there, with their vegan croissant and their alcohol-free vodka. Yeah, let's wait for this other boat to go through. You know, I don't want to be a bad omen. Don't want him bonking into anything. But yeah, there was... Yeah, this is a dredger. This is this a tug? Yeah, a bit of tug action. Here we go. And these little historical vessels, these have been here for time immemorial. You know what I mean? These have pushed, I have to be careful what I say, these have pushed, pulled and tugged their way through the last 50 or so years. Yeah. Yeah, so someone asked me, they said, what the design of this? They're basically, believe it or not, they're just taps. If you want to know how they work, they are just water taps. They're just massive taps. Your household tap, they enlarged it, put a little bit of mechanics to it, and basically that's what you got. It's pretty simple in design. But yeah, the sad thing was, I think the only really recorded sort of bad incident that happened here was in 1997. There's been no sort of tragedies here, or there's been nothing bad has actually happened here. But in 1997, it was hit by a sand dredger, the MV Sand Kite. And what it was supposed to be delivering sand over there somewhere, but it didn't. It wandered off and it smacked into one of the pillars. And as it sunk, it dumped about 600 or 700 tons of sand as it laid there for 3 days. They couldn't move it. It got wedged. And yeah, it was a pretty mad one back in 1997. I don't think anyone was killed in it, but it did cause a bit of a disaster because of how much sand it dumped into the river. But that's the only sort of bad thing that's really happened here, so to speak. There's been no disasters or... Yeah, you're looking at about between £6 and £15 million a year operational fees. That's how much it costs the taxpayer or whoever. That's what you're looking at. And when they do raise it, every time it gets raised, it costs about 20 grand, 20 or so £1,000 on each. Maybe a little bit more nowadays, probably double that, but on average it costs about 20 grand when they do raise it and they lift it up. Tide's going out a little now. We might see a bit more wildlife as the tide pulls away. So and this is the big beast that protects us from the North Sea. Cheese and onion crisps, you can't beat them, can you, by the river? Oh yes, it makes such a nice change, it really does. just to be able to chill out. Just do the boring, mundane things. Because, you know, all the shouting and screaming, the toing and throwing. It does get a little bit too much, so we like to diversify. We was at the London Marathon, check the videos out. We were giving the marathon runners, we spiced it up for you. We spiced it up. We were giving the marathon runners San Miguel beer and WKDs. Can you hear them, can you? I shouldn't talk with my mouth full, but they are nice. Must be the salt air. Yeah, I'll tell you what the worst part about it, Maxine, is the if you can imagine large numbers of people, yeah. See, that doesn't really bother me. It's the thing about it is when when you got 5,000 people screaming at another 5,000 people, certain bodily fluids fly through the air. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. The frothy mouths and the, you know, because when people are shouting, you project, don't you? That is one part about it. The sort of, I don't mind the crowds. I don't mind the shit. I don't mind it. I don't care. But it's just the when everyone's shouting, the old spit starts to fly. Trust me. And you see it on the policemen's helmets. Oh, God. Yeah, well, you do. You see it on their hats. And I was at an event and he was just covered in it. Crazy. Here we go, some more tug action. Amazing how such a small vessel can carry such a big load. Yeah, this is its busiest stretch, actually, widest and busiest part. Yeah, shouts out to David Atherton as well. Thanks for that one, David. Nice one, mate. Yeah, it's a crazy old life, Maxine. It's interesting, though. Yes, and we're encouraging boats today, yeah? On Riverwatch, we encourage boats. We want boats right here, right now. I want to see ships. I want to see boats. I want to see it all. So we're going to be here for about another half an hour. I've given you all the facts on the place. We're just going to walk up and down. We're going to chill here. So if anyone wants to comment, put anything in the comments box or a suggestion to another location, I will be coming from there next week. I hopefully might be over Traitors. What's the Hangman's pub? Maybe over there somewhere. So if you do want to share this this broadcast out, you can do. Share it to any group you like. Do what you want with it. We're just chilling out down by Thames barrier. Sitting on the dock of the bay. And that's what life's about. Oh, it's so chilly. So nice to be able to just chill out for a day and de-stress. It really is. So as I say, it will be moving, but not yet. Later on in the month, in about four or 5 weeks' time, I should be back here. Hopefully, it might even be next week. I've got to do a bit of research. They're pretty shady about their testing time. It could be in the next couple of weeks, though. I'm going to try and get here. I have got exclusive access to the other side. I was around there earlier on, but I thought I'd come around this side. But I've got a little bit of access to the other side as well. So there's one in June, I think at 11:15, June the 5th maybe. And I think there's one in a couple of weeks, maybe next week, where they're actually going to test it. And we'll be able to see this magnificent beast erect itself and come out of the water. All right, you'll see the whole kit and caboodle. It takes about an hour and a half. So hopefully, I really want to do it. I think it's in 2 weeks' time. I've got to try and duck out of a few things, and I'll come down here and do it. How you doing, Sharon? Yeah, tide's coming out a little bit now. It's I might stay here for the tide to pull right out and maybe see a little bit more wildlife. But we are just chilling by the river. It's absolutely lovely down here. You've got some benches here if you need to sit down and rest them weary legs. They've got a few sun loungers. But they buried the access to the other side. They really made it hard for people to access it. But we got in there earlier. But I think it's just a bit more lively around here. The other side is you don't really get to see what goes on because you've got more of London this end. So, Marky Mark, how you doing? The magnificent, wonderful 9 pillars. And you never know, by 2030, they might have to knock it down. They might have to build another one. Bit more tug action coming up. Let's get tugging. Yeah, not bad, Marky. Not bad, mate. Just having a chill out, you know. It's just nice to get away from the madness. And obviously, I did this last week from another location. It was pretty popular. Quite a few people asked me if I'd do a few more. So once a week, we're going to pick a different location. Probably next week, we're going to head up towards London and maybe I fancy a bit of whopping myself. I might even have a mudlark. How about that? Yeah, fuck it. Whopping next week. I'm going to be having a little mudlark. I know the laws on it. I'm allowed to scrape across the surface as long as I don't dig and anything that's laying on that surface, unless you got to check it, unless it's of historical value or major historical significance or a gun or an unexploded bomb, it's fucking ours. So yeah, we're going to be mudlarking somewhere over there next week. Yes, Mark, it was, yeah, they basically, what it was they couldn't build it because there was so much docks traffic. So when the docks started to close, by 1968, they had an idea of what they wanted to do. And they started it in 1974, officially finished 1982, and officially opened by the Queen in 84, I think it was. And I think each one of these pillars, it took about 9 months, about 10,000 tons of concrete to build it, each pillar. And I think they estimated it at about 120 million, and it ended up costing them about 535 million. And it's hardly really been used, about 220 times. Most of the times they've opened it is testing. But as I say, you're looking at a water depth of around, in the centre of this bit here, because this is the widest stretch, you're looking at about a water depth of about 60 or so feet, 66 feet to be precise, around this barrier. And the average river speed is about 2 to 5 mile an hour. So it's probably about 2-ish mile an hour at the moment. But when I was down there last week, it was pushing 5, maybe more mile an hour. Yeah, the tide is slowly pulling away. It should be drawing out within about half an hour. So we'll see how it goes. You tend to get a bit more wildlife. You never know. You might see one of them 5 species of sharks. You never know. You've got a couple of different species of seals here as well. I think it's about 3,000 different species of wildlife as well, protected species as well. Fascinating bit of kit. I've hashtagged the fuckers. I thought they might let me on and have a look. Hello? Yeah, it employs about 80 or so staff. And there's quite a few people. Probably, it looks like probably about 7 people per tower. You never know. Shouts out to everyone watching the stream. We are live, UK, London, River Thames, chilling by the river. Little bit of history. Today's location, the Thames Barrier, Silvertown E16. Yonder there is your Tate and Lyle sugar refinery, and they won't let me in there, got kicked out. There's no point in going there. But as I say, we're doing what we used to do. Stuff that was on telly years ago, before reality TV. Riverwatch with Matty G. I've got my cardigan on and my slippers. All I need is some furry. All I need is some furry animals and an Australian accent. and sign a contract for a large corporation, and I'll be well away. Down by the river, river watch with Matty G. Down by the river, let's have a look at what we'll see. Don't fall in, you twat. Yeah, the tide is definitely pulling away from the banks. It's heading into the North Sea from whence it came. Yeah, every time they raise it, every time it gets raised, it costs over 20 grand. Looking at about £20,000, and about 5 to 16 million pounds a year it costs to keep it going, which ain't bad really. Yes, from the sublime to the ridiculous, from the mad to the mundane. Matty G, we cover it all. From the most boring to basic of things to the most shocking of scenes. Diverse media at your fingertips. For our European visitors, 350 metres. Well, to be precise, 352 metres it spans. And each of these columns, they weigh about 10,000 tonnes and took about 9 months to build. No lives lost in the completion, although many staff members have passed away, and there is a memorial to them somewhere. But as I say, the unfortunate thing about the River Thames is you have to respect this river. You cannot treat the River Thames lightly, because the speed the tides come in, you know, you're looking at, even on a hot day, you've probably got about 2 minutes before hypothermia sets in. So, you know, and with those kinds of speeds, 2 to 3 mile an hour, if you've got like a piece of detritus or a log or a shopping trolley, that's going to take you right out. And unfortunately, this river claims in total about 30 lives a year. So you can't muck around with the River Thames, you know. Yeah, on average it's about 30 a year. I think about 2023 it was pretty high. There was about 28 people died that year. But yeah, you can't mess around with Father Thames, Mother Thames, he, she Thames, whatever you want to call it. It's not to be trifled with. And well, it's higher. Well, basically, what has to happen, Maxine, is your basics, your level has to be about 16 feet above the sea level, and then it will be activated. So basically, what you're looking at is, if you see underneath that one now, you've kind of got a let me get my finger in it. You've got a ridge there, and because obviously that's where your walkway is, so I should imagine it has to get roughly around that ridge there, which is about 16 feet above sea level, and then it's activated, and it's actually about 66 feet deep. So it's actually sitting at the very bottom. If we go over here, you'll see the mechanism, And there's nothing special about it. There's no design. There's nothing special about it. If you see that big cog, that turns and then it lifts it from the bottom about 60 feet down, and it sort of comes up and blocks it just about the level. But the problem is that line, the sea is encroaching that line these days because of global warming or whatever it is. The sea levels are rising too high above that line. So when they actually designed it, they said 2070 initially, but no, it might not last past 2030. Yeah, definitely, Kirstina. They definitely do. Yeah, you're looking at the, most of the current is between 2 and 5 mile an hour. So, once you go under, you can hit an undercurrent, and they can go at any speed, really, can't they? And but you can see the swirls now. You can see the swirl in the water now, and the tide is actually coming out now. And as I imagined, the wildlife comes in as the tide starts to lower. These wildlife ain't stupid. Last week, it was fascinating because a sandboat came in and there wasn't much activity. But what happened was they felt the vibration, and all of a sudden that bay over there started beeping. And then all of a sudden, the gulls and the wildlife came in. Amazing. It was a sort of signal to them that the food's arrived, because when the boats come in, they churn up the water around it, and the diving birds come in. I think there's about 3,000 or so different species of bird here. As I say, 5 different types of shark, a couple of different types of seals, many protected species around here. I'm not the only one. Yeah, there's quite a few diving birds coming around, so you might see there's quite a lot of diving action going on now. We all like a bit of diving, don't we? Yeah, I think it goes up. I think it's next week after. I think it's actually next Wednesday at 9 o'clock in the morning. But if not, if I can't make that one, I will be here for the June opening, and that's about 11:15. Because it don't get open much. It's only opened about 200 or so times, and since it's been around. It normally takes about an hour and a half to reach its full potential, which is not bad considering it's over 45. Shut your mouth, Matty. No, yeah, it normally takes about an hour and a half to raise, which isn't bad considering it's nearly 50 years old. Maybe chuck a Viagra in the water, it might sort of, no, but normally it's about 90 minutes it sort of takes to, What, how does it work? Right, what it is, it's nothing special. All it is, no, it's not, it's just a giant tap. So it works on a tap principle. So what you've got is that they only use 3 of it, right? So you've got, it's 66 feet, about 60 odd feet down. And that actually sits at the bottom. And if you notice, it swings on that axis around there. and then it raises the other side of it to about that level. See the ridge there?
Okay, see these? This is the 1, 2, 3. That swings.
No. So if you look, see that big cog in the corner. See that right. So what happens is that it's sitting at the bottom, and then the gate swings up, and then blocks the water from this side. It has to be about 16 feet above sea level.
Okay.
Only 200 times it's only ever come up. But if you're here next week, I think it's the 6th at 9:15 in the morning, and June about 11:15, June the 5th, 6th, it's tested.
Okay.
So it'd be good to come down and see it. But
Yeah, really interesting.
no, it took about 10 years to build it.
Wow. Well, you know, it's water.
No, the problem is because they had so much shipping industry that in the 50s everywhere was getting flooded. A lot of people died that end.
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
Yeah, so the plans were there, but they couldn't build it because of the shipping industry, because it would slow down trade.
Right.
Yeah, so they waited until the docks declined. 1968, they sort of got their heads together, and then 1974 they started. 82 it was finished. 84 officially opened by the Queen. But they said it'll last till 2070, but it may not. They're looking at about 2030. Could need another one. Yeah, because if you look at the tide, it's hitting the 16 feet mark too often.
Yeah, you can see where it's been.
Yeah. Years ago, that would have just been. Yeah, if you notice, if you look at the Black Ridge, that's your average tide now. But like it's a lot higher recently. You know, it's the. Huh?
Why?
Well, some people say global warming.
You got more water?
Sorry.
More water? Global water.
Well, something like yeah. Because don't forget, this is your last line. They spent about, I think you got about 350 miles of defence. Okay. So if you keep looking, you'll always see a barrier every so often, all the way up to the sort of the edge of the North Sea, all the way up the east coast.
There we go. So that if it's melting ice caps, right? Like
Yeah, but it just can't stop it. Apparently, it just doesn't. It just can't stop it. See, I'll go for it. I started doing this because I just like a break. So I do live streams from different points on the Thames.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that one, about 800 people died on a paddle steamer just up there in the Victorian era.
Do they have any generators?
Oh! Look at this. Yes, they do.
I'm Canadian.
Yes, they do. They have 3 backup generators.
Yeah.
And it takes about 1.5 kilowatts to sort of lift it, and that's what they're using. So and it sort of costs about between £6 and £15 million a year to keep it running.
They can't generate enough
Yeah.
energy coming through the tidal.
No, it doesn't regenerate. It wasn't built in a time. They could have done that maybe these days.
Maybe they will now.
Maybe, yeah. Costs about 25 grand, 20 grand to open each time they open it.
Oh my God.
So you know, yeah.
Well, it's a good job that's worth more than people's lives.
And
Yeah.
this country is
Well, yeah. Well, this.
struggling.
Well, on
All
average,
the countries are
you're looking at about 30 people die a year in the Thames. So, you know, on average. So
What do they?
you got to respect this. You got to respect the Thames. You
Oh,
don't.
it's got.
Yeah, some people, you know, go in because of the hypnotic thing of it. Some people commit suicide. Other, you know, there's other tragedies,
Yeah.
and
Some people get pushed in.
some people get pushed in. Some people have had enough, as you say, of society right now.
God. Well, you're having fun doing this then.
Well, it's a break from the norm because I actually film all that madness that you're seeing right now, and we're out there sort of on the front line. We sort of bypass the media on the TV, and we bring the truth. You know, we're out there sort of sticking the camera in people's faces, filming what's going on.
Good for you.
And you know, there's
Try-
a lot
try-
of
try not to filter.
Well,
but
thanks for your time, mate. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
No, that's all right. No,
Yeah,
no
really
problem.
enjoy it. Thank you.
No worries. Take care of yourself.
See you afternoon.
No worries. See you later. Yeah. Cheers. Yeah, I will do. No worries. And there you go. Riverwatch. Matty G. There's some interested people there. Asking Matty G the questions. It's a good job. I know a little bit about what I'm filming. I don't know. No, you've got to do your research in this game, you know. You've got to do your research. You've got to put the truth out there. Can't be putting out no lies and all that old bullshit, no guesswork. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is a chance for me. And obviously, I was in broadcasting for a long time in radio and stuff. And this is an exercise for me in continuity, because it's all right standing there filming something, but you've got to make it look interesting. You know, you've got to make it, you know, someone learns something out of it. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is what you learn to do. It's a test to myself to make the most mundane things seem a bit more interesting. And it's great. I love it. And it's nice to give people a bit of knowledge so she can go back to America and tell all her friends. My work is done. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Maxine, Canvey Island, eh? Canvey Island. I think that was one of the worst places. I had relatives there that when it flooded, they used to sit on their roofs. It was terrible. Canvey Island was really bad. So, yeah, it was all part, I think, 57. I think, was it 54 or 57 they had their worst nightmares in Canvey. Yeah, my family used to live on Kings, I think it was, something like that, really, back in the 50s, 60s, and historically they've lived there. I used to live there myself, lived there for about a year. In a bungalow. Just chilling by the river, as we do. Riverwatch, Maddie G, every Tuesday. More tug action to the right. No big boys today, no big boats today, no big ships for some unknown reason. How you doing, Jay? How you doing, mate? Yes, bruv. God, this is lovely, this is. Yeah, big up them tourists there. It's nice to share a bit of information with them, you know what I mean? It's better than talking to yourself. Good old Canvey. Good old Canvey, eh? Yeah, it's all right. I prefer London. You ain't got nothing like this, have you? Anywhere else. You know, we've got to admit, in London, we have got so many amenities. You've got a 24-hour shop on every corner. It's great in London, I will say it. I prefer to live here than anywhere else, to be honest with you. You've got a fucking good bit of scenery. Look at it. Nice bit of history. Do you know what I'm saying? Thames barrier. What could be better? And they're going to open it. Oh, do you know what? I think I'm going to miss it next week. I'm going to have to sort out I'm going to have to sort out my Filofax and rearrange a date or two, because I really do want to film the opening of this, and the security guard has let me round the other side as well, so it would be really nice to see it, because they're going to open it in June as well, June the 6th, because it costs them about 25 grand a time, so I suppose they're pretty reluctant. But yeah, they've opened it about 200 times in its history, so it'll be a really good thing to catch if you, and you can see this magnificent beast pop its head out of the water. And I think on the test they do all of them. But it's funny because it holds, of course it is, Curse, of course it is. Of course it is. Well, if this thing here works, yeah, because after 2030, as I say, they said 2070, but it's not looking good. Should we have some more tug action? And there she goes. Me hearties shiver me timbers. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. She's off. Probably dump a load more shit further down the Thames estuary. See if we can catch it coming out the other side. You never know. You can't beat it. See, the thing is people move away and London becomes a memory. But it's not to us. To the people that live here, our history, you know, our memories are always close. We can actually walk on the same streets we walked over for, you know, years and years and years. We can go back to our old haunts. Do you know what I'm saying? There's no memories, is it? It's all real. It's in real time. It's still here. And, you know, this is what I say. This is the best part about it. It's the historical side of it. It's, you know, it's everything, isn't it? I think if you took me away from this, I think I don't think I perform. I don't think I perform very well out of London. I've never been I've lived in many places, don't get me wrong. But, you know, I tend to perform better in London. In every aspect, to be honest with you. And here he is, the lone inspector on the bridge. Making sure that I'm not filming any hostile reconnaissance or... he said to me, don't film any sensitive areas. He's pointed to me where the sensitive areas are. So I'm not allowed to go near their sensitive bits. But I might do in a minute. But that involves me going in a bush. And I don't fancy that right now. He looks happy enough, look. Here's some of the staff coming out. Riveting. Yeah, I will take a little walk back. I will walk it off on the way back. Just to give you a little idea of where we sort of are. But you got the Tate and Lyle sugar refinery just down there. Just yonder. All right. Yeah, I just asked the geezer up there when they're going to test it. All the time, mate. All the time, mate. All right, geezer. All right, mate. But yeah, they are testing it next week. I think in June. No good to me, is it, all the time? You got me eating You got your crisps out now, Maxine? Nothing like them, is there? Especially when you're by the river, the old salt and that. And what have I got left? I've hit me yum-yums. I've hit me yum-yums. Hang on. What have I got left? Oh, I'll tell you what I have got. Oh, hang on. I'll tell you what, I'm addicted to these things. I'll tell you, I don't know whether I'm getting old, but these humbugs here, can't beat an humbug. Eating all your crops. She's at the garden eating all her carrots. What you got? Cheese and onions, salt and vinegar. hedgehog flavour crisps. Do you remember them? They used to do them in school. Hedgehog flavour. Yes, we're down by the river, watching the tide go by. No, it's so nice when someone actually says that, isn't it? You know, you have a conversation with someone and you pass on a little bit of knowledge. It's so nice when someone says, thanks for your time. Thanks for your time. Well, Maxine, keep munching, mate, because there's nothing much happening at the moment. I haven't seen any large vessels. No disco boat. Nor any other form of activity. So I'm going to be here for another 10 minutes or so. The tide is slowly pulling out. And we're going to take a little walk back. And then I'll say my goodbyes. But it's been absolutely blinding. Just mooching about down here. Just watching the river. I love it. Breeze in your face. Oxygen in the left lung. Nothing like it. And here we go. A plane. Come on, we want to see boats. I want to see some boats. Start the boats. That's what we're going to call it. Start the boats. We want to see some boats. Come on, boats. Come in, number 4. You never know. We might see a big one. Cheese and onion. Can't beat a bit of cheese and onion, can you? You can't. Ploughman's lunch and a bag of good old-fashioned cheese and onion. Do they make Worcester sauce crisps anymore? I think they stopped making them, didn't they? Worcester sauce. I swear they did. I used to like sausage and tomato. They were nice crisps. Well, yeah, whoever's messaging me, yeah. Hang on, let me. I can't check my messages. I'll get back to you, yeah. Oh, it does. It does. Yeah, I'm going to take a little. I'm going to walk it off in a little while. I'm going to be here for about another 10 minutes, and I'm going to walk it off on the way back, so you can have a few more. Jaffa cake. She's got a Jaffa cake. She's got a Jaffa cake, and a bag, and a bag of cheese and onion crisps. That's what I can't work out. Kids these days, it was always savoury first, sweet after. You know, but kids these days, they'll eat the Jaffa cake first and then the crisps. I can't understand them. I can't understand them. Me, I have to have the savoury first and the sweet after. But kids, they don't care. You pick the tops off of them and then stack them all up. I'm terrible with biscuits. I have to tear them apart and pull the middles out and make all different stuff. I'm terrible with with Bertie Bassett's all sorts. I construct my own big long. I sit there tearing them apart and making my own ones. How you doing, Sab? Yeah, we're all right, mate. We're just chilling out by the magnificent Thames Barrier. There's no screaming, there's no shouting, there's no I hate you, you hate me, we hate them, they hate us. There's none of that. Time to breathe. As you join me, Matty G, Riverwatch. And I've just found out my son, he's complete week. He's fucking detentions. He has a detention every single day of the week, but he doesn't give a fuck. And that's what schools do. But there you go. Yet again, another detention. I've had about 3 of these today. What is the Thames Barrier? The Thames Barrier protects us. It was built in 1984, finished in 1984, and it's meant to protect us from flooding until 2070, but it doesn't look likely because it's shit and it might need rebuilding because it's only going to last till 2030, so they say. And that stops all of the people in Canary Wharf, the financial. It was originally really to protect the financial district down there. It was really only sort of, we know what it was really meant to protect. But as I say, this was the last measure in defence. Obviously, this is the last measure. And if you look up towards the North Sea, you'll see about 300 or so miles of sea defence. You go around to the Barking Creek Reach. You see a few different types of defence. You go around Canvey, you look at the sea walls. That was all part of that defence infrastructure that was put in place to sort of protect us from the rising sea levels and swells, you know. And there was sort of 200 or 300 deaths, and they just had enough because the river kept bursting its banks at every opportunity, and they had to take drastic measures, which was this thing. Oh, I'll tell you what, I had a thing for... oh, what's this coming down? Oh, we've got a big one. Oh, that's the Woolwich Ferry. Oh, well. Got all excited there. Yeah. Yeah, I used to eat too many... I ate too many digestives. I ate far too many. I was eating a pack a day at one stage. I was burning it off, but no. I had to give them up. I moved on to the plain ones, but now I'm off them altogether. I weaned myself off. Let's show you some love. Show you some love. No, actually, the next one I might actually go up because I know there's a little plot. I might actually do the Woolwich Ferry, maybe next one. maybe the one after. But I think next week I might go towards Wapping. I might go towards Wapping. Have a little bit of a mudlark, get myself into a bit of trouble, I think. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Yeah, riverwatch next week. I think I'll be coming from Wapping. Yeah, where's the Angman's Noose and that pub? We're going to have a little look at that one next week. Going to pay a little visit to the thingy as well soon. We're going to pay a little visit to Whitechapel as well in the next couple of weeks. That'll be interesting, won't it? Whitechapel, live in Whitechapel, Matty G. Yeah, we'll be live in Whitechapel. Don't worry. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll be live. Oh yes, fucking gangster me. I'll throw me cans in the mixed recycling bin. Proper tough nut I am. But I can't see much happening. Can't really see much traffic. We're going to be here for another 5 minutes and we're going to take a little walk back along the river's edge to see what we can see. Thanks everyone sending me messages. I don't know what's coming up on the screen. There's a few. I'm getting a few in the inbox. So thanks everyone for watching this week's edition of Riverwatch. Where we take a deep dive into various parts of the River Thames, its history, its wildlife, its traffic, its people. I think we've got a Thames River boat coming. We might have a little bit of action going on. Straight in one side and straight out the other. Let's watch. Any time now. The vessel is slowly approaching the deepest part of the river. The central gate. What gate will it take? 3, 4, 5 or 6? Let's guess, shall we? I'll say number 5. But you never know, do you? All bets are on. Let's check it. 3, 4, 5, 6. Because they only used 3, so I can see it emerging maybe between 5 and 6. I could be right. I could be wrong. Yeah, they take longer than they look. You see them coming down and you think, here we go. Between 4 and 5. There you go. No, they only use no, they only use a few. They only use 3. I think they use 3 or 4 of them. I think it's 4, 5, and 6. I think they use the pillars, and the rest of them are just sort of dormant. I think the other end it sort of lowers down, and I don't think the ships. Yeah, look, you've got a bridge here, and yeah, obviously 1, 2, 3 it goes to 3, and then you haven't got a bridge. I think it goes actually down underneath the access point, and then you've got no bridge between any of them. I don't think you have you? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I don't think you have. I think the bridge ends because you've got to get the ships through it. So I should imagine that bridge just goes from Pier 1 to Pier 3. How you doing, Jackie? Nice to have you watching. Yeah, no, it doesn't. No. Yeah, so obviously, yeah, so it's 3, 4, and 5. I think they use mainly. And I think this actual bridge here, this is your defence. This is from, you know, in case some twat wants to come and attack us anyhow. I think that's your defence part there, either side. And nothing can sort of pass under it. It looks like maybe an emergency lane. But as I say, quite an interesting place, full of facts. I hope you've got as many facts as you can handle on this place. I've kind of give you everything on it. If you want to start watching the video from the beginning, it's up to you, or like it or share it. We're coming towards the end of this week's edition of Riverwatch. It's great. I love it. I love it. It might seem boring, mundane, but I'll keep doing it. We'll keep plugging at it. And every week we're coming from a different location on the Thames to chat, eat Jaffa cakes, cheese and onion crisps, and just talk about this and that. Right, as we take one last look at the old soldier. Yeah, it's been a good day down here. We've sort of learnt a lot. Give out a little bit of information to a few tourists. What more could you want, eh? We're going to walk back. Ah, some little duckies. Happy as Larry, aren't they? Couldn't give a duck, could they? Look. And off they go. Right. See you later, Mr. Barrier. We're just going to take a little walk back and just glance at the Thames for a few minutes. And if you want to know what was going on behind me, there you go. Lovely little place to sit. Nice little sunspot.
Well, yes and no. So, yes.
Nah, you can't take London out of me. How you doing, Pat? And yeah, this bit here was one of the many areas where people used to go swimming. Loads of little spots along the River Thames. Actually, I'm going to, maybe the next one I come from might be near one of the areas. There was an area near Tower Bridge. Up until the 50s, it was very, very popular to actually come down to the River Thames and bathe with the family. But after a series of many accidents, they sort of, it was kind of frowned upon, and people were encouraged to stay away. But yeah, deaths per year on the Thames have gone down. It's about 30 a year now. But yeah, in the 50s and 60s, obviously, because of the industry and people bathing, there were quite a few tragic accidents. So measures were taken to sort of block a lot of the beaches off. Lots of warning signs. Look at this nice bit here, eh? Yeah, a lot of this sand, this water's really sandy because of an accident, wasn't it, in 97. So was it 60,000 tonnes of silt and sand, wasn't it? Come out of the barge, it hit there. I think this number 4 pillar, and dumped all its sand out over 3 days. So yeah, there are, bro. There's over, I think there's from what there's about 5 species of shark here, 2 species of seal, and about 1,200 animal species, diving birds. It's actually a fucking hotbed, this area, for wildlife. And here we have it. It's been a good couple of hours. Hope you've enjoyed it. Another episode of Riverwatch comes to an end. And we'll see you next week from a different point on this magnificent river for another couple of hours for a little chat, a little bit of history, some Jaffa cakes and cheese and onion crisps. Catch us all later. Thanks for watching, everyone. Much love.